Hello, everyone, and welcome to another news roundup with me, GetSelious, and my partner, SithScott.
Hello.
We got a bunch of news this time around. This time around is focusing, I guess, a little more on the indie side of things, so we can check that out when we can.
Alrighty, so first off is slightly indie, slightly not. New York Times has acquired the game Wordle.
You mean that game one posted on Twitter with like figure out how many letters for a word thing?
Yep, that's the one. The one that's like taking Twitter and most social medias by storm by all the little boxes that show up and you don't know what they mean unless you actually play the game.
Yeah, that is weird. That's a quick purchase, honestly.
Yeah, it really was. Wordle, the creator of Wordle, said that it was kind of foreseen as that just because New York Times made it big apparently. But I think it's also interesting to note that New York Times didn't say how much they bought for it. They just said that it was 7 figures, but low 7 figures.
All right, okay, low seven figures, so roughly barely over $1 million, right?
Yeah. So not too much.
Yeah.
Apparently, but I mean it is Wordle, so it probably didn't take a lot of money to make.
Nope. It's definitely something I could see people copying that formula and milking it like a bazillion copies of it all over, the phone mobile space.
Yeah, it's just the next Farmville. That's it.
Oh God, the next Farm Bill, next Adventure Runner. I can see it. I can see all the moms and all the coworkers playing it on the toilet.
Oh, big time. Ugh. I never actually played Wordle, but I see it all the time on Twitter and on Facebook, so I know it's popular.
Yeah, I've seen people play it. My fiance played it to show me what she was doing, and I was like, oh, this is like those word memory games, but more fun, which is always good.
I mean, games that are fun are always a good thing. I feel like apparently we need to start reminding people that's why we play games.
I thought we play games to prove we're dominant and we can insert our opinions over everything, no matter how bad they are. I thought it was usually the plan.
I know you're the fighter game guy, so I guess I misspoke. No.
Yes, my opinion is all knowing. That's why we should only play Neptunia games. All the RPGs are bad.
Only Neptunia matters.
Yeah,
all the other games are just copies of Neptunia.
Even Neptunia is a copy of Neptunia.
Exactly. That's why we have a remaster of a remake of a remaster of a remake of the actual game. Because Neptunia Rebirth 1 will just never die.
I feel like that's gonna happen, isn't it?
I mean, that is what Neptunia Reversed is. Just, they actually put effort in Reverse because they wanted to show that they could do more with the PS5 engine. And then they totally went back to the PS4 engine.
Well played. Speaking of well played, we recently finished Ignis University, the demos on the YouTube page, and then I think they're back on Kickstarter. Or at least they relaunched a Kickstarter. That's correct.
Yeah, I looked at it, and they have their Kickstarter back up. Apparently, the first one failed, but it did help them with getting funds to make the demo. So they put those funds into then making the next Kickstarter, which I'm kind of happy about, just because it gives them more chances to do what they love, and anyone who designs and develops games because of that is nice. And honestly, I do like some of the way they do the writing. And as I was in the Discord, I also see that they're working on summons and on a lot of new aspects to actually RPG systems.
Yeah.
I haven't showed you it yet, but I actually played their very first game, which was the original Ignis Universia.
Yes, the 8-bit adventure.
3 days.
That is crazy.
It was just like a project on a whim that they'd made, and then apparently it became a bit of a kind of a cult classic on Steam when they released it, and people saw, hey, look, a free game, and just all downloaded it and got a bunch of reviews because it's a free game, and it's fun, but it doesn't have a whole lot of content, which makes more sense once I realize that it has 3 days worth of them actually developing and doing everything.
That is pretty cool. I might give some money to the Kickstarter, and it's good to know that behind the scenes and on the Discord they are working on new mechanics. I felt that the game on its comedy and writing level at the demo, it was a really funny game. It just lacked a lot of RPG mechanics. So
Yeah,
that's
it
pretty
lacks
nice.
some of like the RPG mechanics and concepts, and that's the same thing with their first game too. So it is nice to see them kind of stretch their development tools, stretch their art style, and honestly, I think it's just good to see developers and studios stretch in general of what they can do and what they want to do.
Yeah, it's definitely good to see a sense of improvement across the board and things like this, because it's like it's bad when when developers get stagnant, or it's bad when they kind of get in a rut, like, this is how I make my games and that's it. It's like, yeah, it works for a while, but with it kind of gets lame. It's like, the best way to describe it is, if you play one Call of Duty game, there's so little variance of playing them all, and I feel like Activision at the time was just like pumping these pump and dump schemes, man.
I mean, people bought it; it worked.
Oh, it did,
I
but it was
mean,
just like, if you were looking for like another shooter experience, this wasn't it, Chief.
oh yeah, no, this is definitely it's the opposite sad thing of like with Titanfall, which was the epitome of trying to innovate the shooter genre, but failed because it kept releasing at terrible times.
Yeah, yeah. Though Titanfall has giant robots, and chicks do dig giant robots, so.
Honestly, that is true. The Titan aspect was pretty cool, even if I'd still prefer just the shooting part of it, because I love just the mobility they added to being able to do whatever the crap you wanted to with like grapples and stuff.
I think jacking a robot should be a mechanic in every video game. It's just me.
Yeah, where's Call of Duty Gundam? What the heck?
Call it. Oh God, Iron Blood of Wars. Yeah, do it for the kids.
Speaking of, I guess, Kickstarters, there's another one, Mina the Hollower, which
Yes,
was done by the Yacht Games Club.
Yeah, the creators of the banger, I would say banger of a game series, the Shovel Knight series.
Yeah, Shovel Knight is really popular. And
Shovel Knight's an
it made
institution.
its way into Smash of all things.
Yeah, Shovel Knight's an institution. I mean, you have Shovel Knight, you have Shovel Knight Trove, you have the Shovel Knight got the little adventure card game, you have the Shovel Knight DLC to play some of the villain knights. They added so much content to that game. It's crazy how much game is in the Shovel Knight verse. I'll call it nicely.
Seriously. And I mean, just as I was saying before about how developers are trying to like push and innovate themselves, I was actually watching their announcement of Kickstarter back on G4, and it was kind of cool just looking at all the things they innovated and added, because they're trying to figure out, not only did they create a whole new game engine just so they can make it a fluid Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color kind of experience, but they also made it like just ridiculous with all of its added items, concepts, and enemies and dungeons. Like, there was a lot going for it. So I'm kind of excited to see the full game when it comes out.
Definitely. Like, you can kickstart the game now. The link will be in the description below the video. You can check it out. I think it combines a lot of elements. Like, it's like this very beautiful romance between like Castlevania type games, just from aesthetics, and like old school Zelda games. I think it'd be pretty
100%.
cool. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool in that aspect. And you can play a little mousy hero, so it's cool. What I'm looking forward to is the music of the game. The music of the music of the first game of the done for Shovel Knight was mostly done by Jake Hoffman. He was one of the few composers of it. His music is just banger city. I recommend anyone check if you've played Shovel Knight and know his music. I'm interested to see who's gonna be the music guy for this game. So I definitely, if you call back Jake Hoffman again, please do. Give him the check, give him every money. If the entire Kickstarter,
all the dollars.
If the entire Kickstarter was designed to fund him, I'm okay with that. It's okay.
The game's already made. We just want to get the soundtrack. So
You just want to get the sound. It's like, wait, we're paying you $10,000 for an OST, the best OST.
It'll be an OST that's gonna be a real banger.
That's true. I also, like I said, I think it's interesting. So I'll be definitely looking forward to how this game gets released and the updates. I'll probably be putting some money down for it to give it a look-see more. And I definitely just see how they go with this. This is, to me, definitely a different venture from their prior game, Shovel Knight. So definitely gonna be cools.
And so they're trying to go up the generations. Instead of going to Super Nintendo, they went to the Game Boy.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just really good. I think that the only thing I would ever complain about is, if this is something later on, of course, this will not happen in this lifetime, is when the math comes down and people do the quick counts, be like, how much was the game worth via Kickstarter versus how much it's worth its retail price and what you gain from it. That's the only thing in the future. That's a Kickstarter issue. Like, here's a side tangent. I purchased Kimagari, aka Orange Road, the manga, to be printed a while back, years ago. I got it printed. I bought the entire series, all omnibus size, all like 5 or 6 volumes, $170, right? And I'm like, oh my god, it's expensive. Now look at the retail price of the book is $25. I got seven omnibus books for about, let's see, for $25. 25 times 6 is $150. With tax is almost nearly the same. But I also got a thank you card from the author, so it's I guess it's a little bit worth more than the comparative amount you can do.
That's fair.
Yeah. So always that's the only, and I do mean the only complaint I could ever see myself or anyone else having, because that's Kickstarter math can be, if you're into that stuff, can be pretty. It's not you getting ripped off. It's like what you're paying for, what you want to get out of it.
Yeah. Alrighty, so this one's more something I'm excited about. The Atelier Sophie 2 game that's coming out later this month got a new story trailer as well as a big press release about its new combat mechanics and how it's going to be working with its crafting system. And honestly, I really enjoy it because they're adding a lot more party members to normal battles. They're also removing loading screens permanently in between fields, so that like when you go into a battle, it just goes straight to the battle and then you go back straight into the overworld. So I'm really interested to see how they work that out, because they're only launching it on the PS4 and the Switch. So
I guess the game might be, because it's only having with limited loading screens, it might run a bit, it might be graphically a bit lower then.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
excited for it too, because Atelier Sophie was actually my introduction to the Atelier games. I actually was big into Dynasty Warriors, and then eventually that led me to the All-Stars Warriors, or Warriors All-Stars, and she was one of the characters you could unlock. And her playstyle was one of my favorite ones, because you'd summon a bunch of just like creatures to go attack enemies. And I thought that was like the greatest thing ever. So I decided to look into where her game came from, and it was Atelier Sophie, where she was the main character.
That's interesting.
That led me down the rabbit hole of the Atelier games.
Interesting. So you're into crafting everything into oblivion. Seems fair.
Yeah, exactly. Everything must be crafted.
Yeah. Personally, my take the Altair games. The Altair games, all of them are good in my opinion. They're very big time sinks, and they're very, very meticulous on how to play them. I think those are pretty much like, they're RPG fans for people who know RPGs very well. I think they're really fun though. I think they're truly fun for what they do. There's no complaints about it.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think they do take a lot of time, but I think I just enjoy spending the time is the thing. And I think that's a big deal of RPGs, is I don't care how long it is if it's fun.
Exactly.
If it's like a grind to get anywhere. I remember like when I first tried Disgaea, it took me a while to actually start liking the game, because in the beginning you have to grind so much to get to each story level. But they give you a bunch of things to do, but outside of the story, it's just, I was in the phase of where I didn't care about doing side quests or extra stuff, so I just want to go straight to the story. In the Disgaea series, that is a terrible idea.
That is true. Oh, you learned. Good. I'm very proud of you. You learned that early.
Yeah. So you do a lot of stuff. So with Atelier Sophie, it's kind of the same deal. You just enjoy being in the world and enjoy doing the crafting system. You enjoy doing the combat system. You don't need to rush the story at all, because if you do, it can sometimes hurt.
True. And I'm glad you compared it to actual Disgaea, one of my favorite series. Yes, Disgaea will grind you into the ground. You will learn. That's all I gotta say.
Well, you don't want to have like 70 different characters at level 1,000 by the time you actually get your first prestige.
And the only difference is because they're different ranks. You have a fighter, E rank fighter, who's like lazy tier, and you have a god tier prodigy. You wasted all your SP points on. Good stuff. But yeah, exactly. I think, like I said, grinding is not a problem in RPGs. It's just how you feel about the grind reward of it. I think that's the point of it. Like, I don't think there's any RPG you could play that have a grind. You know?
Yeah. It reminds me also of like the Dragon Quest games. Those can be quite a grind, especially when you want to get to the end game content, or even like in Dragon Quest 11, even the end game content was still story content. They just added like 4 different endings that you just had to keep going back to the credits to go do more.
Yeah, which was cool because well, I don't think a lot of people play Dragon Quest, at least in my opinion. Like, we're huge Dragon Quest is like, it's a banger RPG franchise in Japan, like multimedia, all that jazz. In the West, it's a bit iffy. It's like Tales, Tales is iffy in the West, but kind of big in Japan.
Hopefully, Tales of Abyss is changing that in the West because it got pretty popular.
Yeah, that did.
Alrighty, and the last one is, I think, something you're more aware of, is the Ifernax reveal got a trailer.
Yeah, so Ifernax is a action indie platformer game that has multiple endings and things you could do, and it's got the release date is this I would say this Valentine's Day,
Yep.
This Valentine's Day, it's February 14th, 2022. So yeah,
the gaming industry this year did not decide that you wanted to have a love life. They decided it was your love life.
Yeah, that's one may consider that abusive, but you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Exactly.
I'm excited for the game. This is one game I actually kept my high hopes for, simply because it's a different type of game. I'm usually for indie games. If I get a copy of it, I'll definitely stream and make a review. Scott will help me with the review because he'll be like, "What's going on in this game?" He'll know. But I'm definitely excited to see how far the game goes and everything that it kind of encapsulates. But
I haven't seen too much except for what the trailer showed, and
yeah, exactly.
It's pretty good.
Pretty much. It could be I guess. Well, the funny thing is, like, the one thing I like about indie game trailers, it can be more speculation, etc. And at least it's not Devolver digital tier where it's just random.
Honestly, I just wonder why they have so many games. I mean, they're pretty bangers a lot of the time, but it's just like they're so random with what games they make.
That's the whole point. They just take a bunch of random publishers and make anything under them. They're just that is their aesthetic. But speaking of that, like I said, I'm pretty excited for Ifernax. I'm gonna hopefully get a copy, get a chance to play, and put it out for everybody to see. I'm definitely looking forward to the game's release, and I'm looking forward to a lot of the system mechanics and things that go on with the game. I think it's interesting having this very Gothica action game that lets you have choices, because you're supposed to just kill everything, right? Actually, you can not kill everybody. Multiple endings.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're on the pacifist routes.
I'm going to see if that works. That's the first thing. If that doesn't work, we're just going to go Murder Town, and we tried. That's what I'll tell everybody, right? We tried. And speaking of trying, Scott, can you look inside yourself and try to stop buying all those Neptunia CDs? Please stop. I heard every mixtape by now.
But did you hear the remix?
Oh God. Anyway, before I let everyone go with the video, I just want everyone to know there is a Neptunia game that's out on consoles and Steam right now that is a direct clone Space Harrier. The music is really good, and Scott has been telling me to play this game. I don't know if I should, but it's really good.
Do it!
Oh man, I don't know what I'll do. But anyway, that's the news roundup for this time around. Please should check the link below to assist or have more interest looking into Ignis Universia as a Kickstarter, as well as Mina the Hollower on Kickstarter. And if you haven't already, please give us a subscription. LOL. Subscribe to the channel, obviously. Give us a like. Drop a comment below. Tell us how you feel the video and everything else. And this is GetSelious SithScott signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one.
See ya.